How you guys doing out there today? This is your boy Roto Beast. I'm here with my boy Jeremy. We're here to present you our NBA morning shoot around from Monday, February 25th. If you're new to this channel, please make sure and click the subscribe button below. This way you can watch all of our NBA, MLB, and NFL videos. If you haven't came and checked out our website here at dfscheatsheet.com, you're absolutely missing out. We have all the tools to help you compete with the pros day in and day out, including a complete optimizer, tons of content, daily Fanduel and Draftkings cash lineups. Hey, we're truly a one-stop shop for all your DFS needs. So make sure to check out the site here at dfscheatsheet.com. So, hey, what up, Jeremy?
Yo, what's up, man?
Not much, man. Another day, got a monster 11-game slate. I mean, I'm ready just to jump into it and kind of get it done. Real quick, before we jump into it, if you guys don't mind, please take that quick second for me. Click the like button down below. That helps me out a lot. Really appreciate that from you guys. And yeah, man, I mean, you ready just to jump into some basketball?
Yeah, man.
Cool. First game we're going to go with is going to be the Indiana Pacers going into Detroit to face the Pistons. This game has a 213 over-under, which is one of the lower ones on the slate. And Detroit's favored by 2.5 in this one.
So Miles Turner, it looks like he's probable now, so we can count on Miles Turner making his return back tonight. 7.6. Not a guy that I'm looking to get any exposure to going against Andre Drummond. But Darren Collison is a guy I think at 6.3. Based on the way they've been playing, I like him. And another guy that I'm going to look to also with some exposure to Wesley Matthews, who's getting a lot of minutes here since he's moved to Indiana. So that's two guys for me that I'm definitely interested in. Bogdanovich, the price is a little steep for me based on them playing without Miles Turner. His price should go back to the mid-5s. I think he's overpriced right now, as well as Thaddeus Young and Sabonis. I think they got a price increase based on the fact that there was no Miles Turner. Miles Turner is going to return. Their role and their opportunity will diminish a little bit. Look for their price to climb back down. Sabonis gets back to 6,000. He's playable off the bench. But as of right now, it's Collison and Wesley Matthews for me.
Yeah, man, on the Pistons side of things, I mean, there's a couple guys I think we could look at. I mean, you got to start with two main guys, Andre Drummond and Blake Griffin. If I had to choose between those two guys, I definitely would go with Blake Griffin. Reason being, you always mention it all the time, Miles Turner is a pretty good defender. He's expected back today. But Drummond could still definitely get his and have his way. But at a 10.6 price tag compared to Blake, $1,800 less, I'd rather take the discount and go with Blake. But I definitely think both of those guys are in play for GPPs. Then you can look at Reggie Jackson. His price is back down to 5.4. Yes, we got A. Smith back, but Reggie Jackson's been playing pretty well. So I definitely think he's in play for GPPs as well. But, I mean, I'm not going to look at a guy like Kennard. Price tag is kind of came up a little bit. So for me, it's really just Drummond, Griffin, Jackson, all GPP plays.
Yeah, man, and moving on.
Next game we're going to go with is going to be the Portland Trailblazers going into Cleveland to face the Cavaliers. This game has a 225 over-under, and Portland's favored by 9.5 in this one.
Lillard, I think, is too expensive for me in this spot at 10-1. I like Lillard at 9,000 and 9.5, 9.6. 10-1, I just can't get behind 10-1 on an 11-game slate going against Cleveland. I'm sure he'll ball out, but I don't know if 60 is what he's going to bring us today in this one, and that's really what I'm looking for tournament exposure. So I'm going to avoid that. I'm a little bit interested in McCollum. I think McCollum's a pretty good pivot play off some of the other shooting guards on the slate. We know McCollum 100%. We need the guy to score baskets in order to get value. This is a spot I like for McCollum to actually score a lot of actual points tonight in this one. A high over-under, probably not a lot of defense played on the Cleveland side of things. And Cleveland, if they can find a way to knock down the three, which that's typically what keeps them in games at home, is they find a way to knock the three ball down, then, you're looking at an opportunity for McCollum to score you 25 points tonight. And if he can get you 25 real points and then a couple of assists and rebounds, I think he's got a really good shot to hit 40 or 42, 43 fantasy points in this one. Outside of that, Harkless at 4.5 is fine for tournaments if he's going to get run. But the real guy that I want to see and I want to get exposure to in tournaments is Enes Kanter. They've already come up with a nickname for this duo of Nurkic and Kanter. I think they're calling it Nurk and Turk since Kanter's from Turkey. 5.2 is too cheap if the guy's going to play 22 to 25 minutes, and that's going to be his role coming off the bench, a la Oklahoma City. We know the guy has double-double upside. He's almost averaging a double-double this year as a whole. So Kanter at 5.2 I think is a very fair price and a guy that I'm looking to get exposure to in tournaments tonight.
Yeah, man, on the Cleveland side of things, I mean, honestly, I don't think that the Trailblazers are a very good defensive team. The Cavaliers, I mean, you got some guys that are in play. I honestly pretty much like the whole starting five of the Cavaliers. They're all very, very fair price tag. You got Colin Sexton, 5,500. The guy's just, I mean, he's getting pretty much as many shots as he wants. Going against Lillard, who's not, the best defender. Like him a lot. Osman's been playing very well. Zizic has been playing very well. And they're both playing right around 30 minutes. 47, 4,800. I mean, you don't need very much from them. You need 24 points, 24 fantasy points to get you value. Think those guys are in play. The interesting guy for me is really, I have two guys on this team I'm interested in. Kevin Love, 7.1. The price tag it jumped up quick, but he had that monster game that we know Kevin Love was going to have. I mean, you may think about it like, oh, well, he played only 25 minutes and he got 32 points and 12 rebounds. But if you guys remember, even last year when he was playing with LeBron, the guy was only playing 25, 26 minutes a game, and he was absolutely crushing every single night. So if he's going to play 25 to 27 minutes on a 7.1 price tag, I definitely think it's still fair. Probably a little bit more of a GPP play right now just because the minutes aren't solidified. And then we got this guy, Brandon Knight. He's in the starting lineup. We know this guy is a baller. He can put up fantasy points in bunches. His minutes he's playing anywhere from 18 to 20 minutes in that starting role. The reason he's so interesting to me, though, is yes, he hasn't had a monster game, but he's starting. He's getting some decent minutes, and he's bare minimum price tag. If the guy doesn't work out, you can use him as your job spot, and you can kind of move on. I meof that's really what it is. So I think that Brandon Knight is an interesting play, and then you could throw in a Larry Nance and a Jordan Clarkson off the bench. But both of those guys are pretty fair price tags. So that's really where I'm at with Cleveland.
Just one thing to kind of piggyback on the Kevin Love thing, man. And I've been the one guy probably that's constantly said keep playing him. I want to know he's going to play 25 plus, and I get what you're saying, but if you look at last year, the guy averaged 28 minutes last year and 17.6 points. He's averaging 25.8, with a couple of those games have been minutes restriction games, right? So he's averaging 17.8 this year as opposed to 17.6 last year. But the one place that he's showing up that he's getting more of this year is rebounds. He's averaging almost 2 full rebounds more per game this year than he did last year with LeBron. So look for it, we know they don't have a lot of big guys. We know the deal with Tristan Thompson, Kevin Love he's really the number one rebounding option there now. As LeBron, he pushed a triple-double every night. So I think you see Love's price get to 7.5, 7.6, 7.7, and it's really hard to play him there. But at 7.1, I think he's still a very good play.
Yeah, for sure. Moving on, next game we're going to go with is going to be the Golden State Warriors going into Charlotte to face the Hornets. This game has a 233 over-under, and Golden State's favored by 8.5 in this one.
Lock Steph Curry in. Lock him in. Every time he goes here, I tell everybody that. You see last year, he didn't play against Charlotte in either game, but if you take a look at what he did in his past, when he goes to Charlotte, the guy goes off. He absolutely goes off. We know where he's from. We know where his brother's from. We know where his dad played. We know the history behind Steph Curry and Charlotte. Load this guy up. 9.6 is too cheap for Steph Curry as a whole anyways, in my opinion. I think that it's actually probably a par price for him. But you have to give him a bump when he goes to Charlotte. To me, he's the top play. This guy goes nuts when he goes into Charlotte. He just does. Boogie Cousins, full complement of minutes, 8.3. We know this guy in his past has been a $12,000 player. If the minutes restriction is indeed off and there is no longer a minutes restriction, there is not a guy who's going to defend Boogie Cousins. I look for Boogie Cousins to kind of diminish the role of Draymond Green a little bit. I said this way back when Cousins came back. I said that the offense is going to start to move to go through Boogie Cousins. I really look for that to happen because you can double team Draymond Green and force him to pass. But you can't double team DeMarcus Cousins and force him to pass because that leaves Steph Curry or Klay Thompson wide open. And if you're going to pick the lesser of two evils, you want to not leave one of those two guys wide open. That's just the way it's going to go. But I look for Curry to go nuts in this spot. Iguodala at 4.4 is another good tournament play in my opinion. But I'm looking to load up Steph Curry and Boogie Cousins, and I think Steph Curry is safe in every single format you want to put him in tonight.
Yeah, for sure. On the Hornets side of things, I mean, Zeller, he's been playing very, very well. 6'4", the price tag's up, showing it a little bit. I just don't like the matchup against Boogie Cousins. I definitely think this is a spot where he can get in foul trouble. Quickly, I'm not really interested in Zeller, Marvin Williams. It's really for me. I mean, I like Kemba Walker, 9.2 at home. We always talk about it at home. He plays much better up tempo game. Definitely think he's a solid play. Nicholas Batum, he's kind of starting to round off and playing a little bit better compared to earlier in the year. Doing Nicholas Batum things, kind of filling up the stat sheet a little bit. Definitely is up and down, so he's a GPP play. But at a 5.3 price tag, this guy does have 40 fantasy point upside. Very, very up-tempo game, as I mentioned. So I definitely think this is a spot that he can have a really, really good game. Jeremy Lamb, 5.3. He's our second best scorer after Kemba Walker. And this guy chucks shots up. The thing about him is, I mean, his minutes have been down a little bit. He was getting steadily before the All-Star break, anywhere from, 30 to 35 minutes. In the past few games, I mean, 17, 22, 18. I mean, I think Charlotte's kind of in taking mode, and they're trying out their young guys, and they're necessarily, cutting some of the older guys' minutes. And Lamb is a product of that, as you can tell. But he's in play if he's going to be in that star lineup. 5.3. He had 40 point upside as well. That's really it for me. I'm not really too excited in the Hornets. I definitely think this game is going to get out of hand quickly and just kind of be a blowout.
Yeah, so I just wanted to quickly mention Steph Curry didn't play last year, but the year before, 33.5, 7.5 is what he averaged against Charlotte in 2 games. And you could just take a look back at every time before that he's played against Charlotte. This guy ripped Charlotte. So don't be surprised if he scores 40 points tonight.
For sure. Moving on, next game we're going to go with is going to be the Phoenix Suns going into Miami to face the Heat. This game has a 216 over-under. Miami's favored by 8.5 in this one.
Hey, look, I think that Tyler Johnson and the Phoenix Suns have found a rotation. The odd guy that's going to end up, I think, being the odd guy out here, even when he's healthy, is going to be TJ Warren, and that's unfortunate. I wish they would have moved him prior to the trade deadline. But I think he's going to suffer even when he comes back, because rotationally, it looks to me like Phoenix is finally found something. You see Tyler Johnson goes for 50 fantasy points in his last outing. They picked up Kelly Oubre. This guy's played really well. We liked him when he was in Washington. The problem is that Oubre's price is probably fair, and I don't like it in this spot. DeAndre Ayton at 7.3, I think, is a fine play tonight in tournaments. Tyler Johnson, 5.6, I think is probably still a little underpriced based on the opportunity that he has as a starting point guard here in this spot. Josh Jackson at 5.2. We know what Josh Jackson can do. I think that's a cheap price tag as well. And Devin Booker at 8.7. I think that with Devin Booker, it's tournament only here. Just for the simple fact that we need more. We need to see more of how this is really going to play out and how many shots Booker's actually going to get and how his usage is actually going to be affected in the long term with a bigger sample size with Oubre, Tyler Johnson, and Josh Jackson all on the floor together. And DeAndre Ayton, we know what he brings to the table as well. So this is not Phoenix of the past where it was Devin Booker taking 25 shots. Devin Booker obviously still going to get his, but he's the one guy that I think may be too expensive to play and plug in here.
Yeah, man, for sure. No, I definitely agree. And then, I mean, I like Tyler Johnson in the narrative spot right here for sure.
Absolutely.
We got some news that we're waiting on the Heat side of things. We got James Johnson, game time decision, Winslow, game time decision, Magruder, a game time decision. If those guys are out, there's going to be some minutes that are definitely going to open up for some people. I got to kind of take a little bit of a wait and see approach a little bit on Miami. There's a couple guys that we could definitely target. Man, I don't know what to do with Whiteside. Whiteside's the one I don't know what to do with, because this is a spot that he can have a really, really good game, have a monster game, 7.2. It's just all about minutes. Do we feel that Whiteside is going to get the minutes that we need him to get? Last game, he got 30 minutes. Yes, we want to see him play 30 minutes. But look at the games before that, 20, 22, 19, 21, 28. We always talk about it in Miami. They're a team that they have a lot of good, solid guys, and they try to play all their guys. So a lot of guys that get their minutes kind of cut. It is what it is. One guy that's interesting to me, you got Goran Dragic coming back, 4.2 price tag. I mean, last game he played 15 minutes. Yes, he didn't have a very good game. 4 points and 2 turnovers. I understand. But if we hear any news of his minutes are going to get bumped up a little bit, and even if they're going to give me, I would say 22 to 24 minutes from Dragic, at a 4.2 price tag, I definitely think he could pay off on that. So, I mean, we got to wait, like I said, wait on some news and kind of go from there. Winslow was a guy that they were playing a little bit at the point guard position as well. So if he's out, I definitely think that could open up a couple of minutes for Dragic, as well as James Johnson. James Johnson ends up getting ruled out. Definitely think that gives a bump to Kelly Olynyk at 4.6. So like I said, for me, I'm really waiting just on some news. But the guys that are really kind of I'm interested, Dragic, Olynyk, if the other guys are out. Richardson is always going to be in play and get his. And then you can look at Dwayne Wade as well. 6,000. They're giving this guy a steady diet of 25 to 28 minutes a game. It's his last ride. They want him to ball out to finish up. So he's in play as well. That's really where I'm at with the Heat.
Let's not forget, this is a narrative game still for Goran Dragic as well. He very, very, very shaky relationship he had there with Phoenix when they got rid of him. That's where the Dragon started, was in Phoenix. The guy puts up monster numbers every time he plays against Phoenix. You can look at the last 2 times he played, 44 and 38 fantasy points. Obviously, the minute situation was a little bit different, but like you said, if I think you have to look and see what the deal with Winslow and Magruder are, right? If those guys are both out, that obviously plays a role in depth, and I think you can see Dragic if Dragic gets 20 minutes tonight, lock him in cash games. I think he'll be a lock if he's going to play 20-plus minutes.
Yeah, I mean, at 4.2 price tag, he's borderline. You can kind of play him as a drop spot as well.
Exactly.
Next game we're going to go with is going to be the San Antonio Spurs going into Brooklyn to face the Nets. This game has a 233.5 over-under, and Brooklyn's favored by 2 in this one.
Just because it's San Antonio, I want to caution everybody that you need to kind of watch news throughout the day. They are on a back-to-back. They are playing against Brooklyn. You just never know with Popovich what he's going to do here. But if we hear no news and no players rest today, I think that you can go right back to the well with DeMar DeRozan and LaMarcus Aldridge coming off solid games last night against the Knicks. I like Aldridge at 8,000. We've targeted centers going against the against the Nets all year long. Aldridge playing at a really high level right now. You can look at his past 5 games, and see what he's doing. But DeRozan as well, 8.4 is a very cheap price tag for a guy that is doing so much more than he's ever done over the course of his career. He's not only scoring the basketball, he's playing the role really of a point guard with the way he's distributing the basketball, running the offense through him. His mid-range game is locked in right now. 8.4, I think, is a solid price tag on a guy that we know is a $9,000 plus player. Outside of that, I'm not really interested in much. I think Pirtle is a good tournament play. Bellinelli, though, at 3.9, that's a guy that you could play as a drop spot. He's playing a ton of minutes, and we know Bellinelli's a three-point assassin. The guy can knock down the three-point shot. He's a really good shooter. You look at a game that's got a very high implied total like this, and you looked at, for a Marco Bellinelli to go out and score 15 points tonight, and at a 3.9 price tag, if he does anything else besides knock down 4, 5, 6 jump shots, he's going to make value for you. So I like Bellinelli, I like Aldridge, and I really like DeMar DeRozan as well.
Yeah, for sure. Just a quick note. I personally don't think that the Spurs are going to rest anybody tonight. Reason being, I was actually watching the Knicks and Spurs game last night, and the announcers were just talking about how the game was a must-win game. San Antonio should have easily beat the Knicks. The Knicks were on like a 14 home game losing streak, and it was just a really, really bad loss for the Spurs. The Spurs are in the 7th spot in the West right now, so they pretty much got to win every single game. Every game is very, very important for them down the stretch. If they would have won last night and then, second in against Brooklyn, which a team they could maybe beat with the backups, yeah. But the fact that they lost, I don't see them sitting anybody tonight. Because, like I said, pretty much a must-win game here on out for them. On the Nets side of things, if there's a couple guys –
One quick second. The reason I say that is because this is the longest road trip that the NBA has this year is the Spurs. It's their rodeo trip. It's 8 games. This is the last game of that trip, and I could totally see them resting because of the fact they lost last night. And the guys may be – I mean, that's a lot. They've been on the road for 2 weeks. They've been away from home for 2 weeks.
I don't know if you watched the game yesterday. Pop did one of those famous Pop things where he got hella pissed off at the starters, so he pulled the starters out hella early, and he let the backups. They played a lot of the game, and they're the ones that actually brought them back. And then he came back with like 6 minutes left in the game after the starters were sitting for hella long, and he tried to steal a win in the end. Starters couldn't end up doing it, but they didn't necessarily play like the full allotment of minutes. But I get you though. I definitely get you. It could go either way.
No, but that's exactly why I'm I'm on that perspective today is because of I did watch that game and because of what Popovich did, and that's Popovich will do things like that, and I could totally see them going out and saying, "I'm ready, you guys. Let's go with these. Let's go with the bench players."
You got Aldridge. Aldridge only played 21 minutes yesterday. I mean, 21.
Yeah, no, I'm with you.
And then, I mean, same thing. Hold on, I was just checking on DeMar DeRozan. So he played 32. He played a little bit more. Aldridge got in foul trouble. So if anything, maybe they would rest like a DeMar DeRozan or a Rudy Gay. But Aldridge barely played yesterday. And we always talk about it too. Is we love bigs going against the Nets too. So I think Aldridge is a really good play. On the Nets side of things, I'm not really so interested, to be honest. You got D'Angelo Russell. I mean, playing very, very well, but he's 9,100. I mean, 9,100 is not a give me spots or straight GPP play. The guy that's really most interesting to me on the Nets is Karis LeVert. I mean, he came back from injury. He's already back in the starting lineup. This is a guy he gets fancy points way more ways than just scoring the ball. That's just what he does. He hasn't necessarily been shooting the ball very well since coming back, but he's getting the shots, and that's what we gotta like. 2 of the past 3 games, he's played at least 29 minutes. 5.7. I like Karis LeVert. He's my favorite play on the Nets. It's LeVert, Russell. You can throw him in a couple of GPPs. Joe Harris been shooting the ball well. You could throw him in a couple of GPPs. I mean, that's really it. They got a lot of guys that they're bringing off the bench. They have somewhat of a log jam here in Brooklyn, just like we always talk about Miami. So, yeah, I'm just really sticking with Russell and LeVert mainly in GPPs.
Yeah, move on.
Next game we're going to go with, it is going to be the Los Angeles Lakers going into Memphis to face the Grizzlies. This game has a 223 over-under, and the Lakers are favored by 5 in this one.
There's a lot of drama going around this Laker team right now, man. There's a lot of drama going around this team. And I don't know if you've seen the stuff that's come out, but there was news that broke that the buses left Luke Walton, and then John Ireland's been with them for a very long time. John Ireland said that's fake news. Luke Walton didn't get left, but the point is that there's a ton of drama going around these guys, and there's people that are saying that even though they had a really good game against Houston and they stole that game, that this team, these young guys are irritated, they're pissed off, they don't want to be there, and there's just a lot of drama. Drama aside, this is a must-win game for the Lakers if they want to get in the playoffs. They have to win this game. I think 12,000 is probably fair for LeBron, but I think it's too expensive on this slate and against this team. I'm really interested in some players on the other side of this, namely Mike Conley. But Kyle Kuzma at 6'9" and Brandon Ingram at 6'5" are 2 guys that I would definitely play. And Reggie Bullock starting at 4.4. I'm definitely going to get exposure to him as well. The other thing to look at also is Rondo. And Rondo's priced all the way down to 4.7. He's kind of in that we just talked about Dragic, right, at 4.2. Rondo at 4.7. This is a tournament play only, but it's a play that could win you a tournament as well if Rondo happens to play 28 minutes tonight. If Rondo plays 28 minutes tonight for whatever reason, he could go nuts, and it could be a play that wins you a tournament tonight. That's really it for me. I mean, it's a must-win game for the Lakers. I don't like JaVale McGee at 5.5. I don't like LeBron at 12. I think it's a tournament play only. You need 72 points from him tonight for tournaments. That's what you need out of LeBron. I don't think 72 is on the agenda for him. But Kuzma and Ingram, I think, are fine plays.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, on the Memphis side of things, there's definitely a couple guys that we can look at, especially going against the Lakers. Lakers are an up-tempo team that we like to target. You can start with I'm going to start with 2 guys I really like. I like Rab. Sorry. I like Rab a lot, 4.6. Think it's a very fair price tag. Definitely think he's in play with Jaren Jackson out. Joakim Noah, 5,000. The price tag is creeping up a little bit, but he continues to play very, very well. So those are the 2 big guys I'm going to start with. Then, like you said, you mentioned Mike Conley. You can look at Mike Conley. He is a game-time decision. If Mike Conley, he's probable for today. If he's in 7.6, the price tag is down. Love him in this spot. I definitely think he's a very, very good play. Probably you can look at him in cash games as well with the price tag down a little bit. Great play for him. If he was to happen to be ruled out, you just go right back to the well with DeLon Wright. The guy's been playing well. It's all about minutes with him. That's really it. I mean, my favorite 4 guys. My favorite 4 guys are going to be Rab, Conley, Noah, and then I actually like Justin Holiday as well. He's playing a bunch of minutes and he's cheap. 3,700. So the minutes have been down a little bit. I think just because of what is the DeLon Wright trade. But I mean, I like it. He's almost bare minimum price tag, 3,700. You can use him as a job spot, and I think he's going to get you 29, 30 minutes in this game. I think Holiday is a play. You can look at Avery Bradley. I mean, he had a monster game, just a couple games ago. But I'm not really going to chase it. That was against San Antonio where he played 37 minutes. But outside of that,
no point guard. With no point guard.
Yeah, okay, with no point. There we go. So like I said, and we both expect Conley to play today. So I'm not going to look at Bradley. For me, it's like I said, Rab, Conley. I really like Noah. People are sleeping on Noah. He continues to be low owned, and he's killing it. And then you could throw in a little bit of Justin Holiday as well.
Let me ask you this, just real quick before we move on. Joakim Noah against the Lakers or Enes Kanter against Cleveland in the same spot?
What was Kanter's price?
Let me look. I want to say it was 4.6. Is he 4.6?
I ain't gonna lie.
5.2.
I'm probably gonna go Noah.
Really?
He's just fucking killing it right now. He's doing everything. When he's on the floor, he's like fucking producing. I played him the other day, and he almost won me a tournament talking about Joakim Noah. So I can't hate on the man. I like him though. I mean, look at the game log. The guy's fucking killing it right now. And the thing is they really don't have no big, so he's getting some minutes.
Well, for sure, yeah, he's getting minutes.
So, hey, moving on. Next game we're going to go with is going to be the Atlanta Hawks. Houston face the Rockets. This game has a 231.5 over/under, and Houston's favored by 12 in this one.
Kim Basemore and move on. I mean, the price is getting up a little bit on Basemore. It's not a bargain. It's not a bargain price like it was, but look at his game log, and we've seen him put up as many as I think 47, right? So, Kim Basemore, I think there'll be a lot of shots to be had in this game, but I just don't like matchups for anybody else. I don't like Collins going against Fareed. I don't like Dedmon going against Capella. I don't like Trae Young against Chris Paul. We know Trae Young has the tendency to turn the ball over. The guy can shoot. He can shoot. That's the one thing he can do. Shot selection is not the greatest at times. He's not Steph Curry, but he thinks he could knock it down from anywhere on the floor like Curry can. You have to like the confidence in the young guy, but I'm not paying 8.2 for a rookie point guard to go against Chris Paul. It's just, I'm not doing it. I would rather pay 8.4 for the veteran point guard going against the rookie here. So I'll play Bazemore, and that's all the exposure I'm going to have to Atlanta tonight.
Yeah, for sure. So it's looking like James Harden is going to be back tonight. He was out last game. Fareed got the start. Next to Capella, had a really, really good game. 6.6. I'm not going to look at Fareed. I just kind of wanted to get him out of the way just because, I mean, I don't know. I guess you could throw him in a couple of GPPs. Now maybe he's coming off the bench, so he'll get some garbage time minutes. I mean, I think we can maybe see that from Fareed. But with James Harden back and him not starting, I'm going to kind of stay away from him. James Harden, 12.5. Struggling with a little bit of an injury right now. No thank you, especially in a game that could definitely get out of hand quickly. A couple guys that I'm really liking. I like Chris Paul, 8.4. I definitely think he's in play. He's a fair price tag. We need 42 for value. And Chris Paul can definitely get us 42. He fills up his stat sheet, does a little bit of everything. Eric Gordon, you could go right back to that well for GPPs. 5.6. He's going to play 30 minutes. He's going to get 10 to 15 shots. It's all about if his shots are going down. Got to really consider him. And lastly, Clint Capella coming back from injury. When this guy is just, not even just this year, last year, the past 2 years in general, he's been absolutely killing it, walking double-double pretty much any night he steps on the floor, get some blocks, get some steals. And, he's had a couple of decent games since coming back, but he hasn't had a monster game. And I definitely think this could be a spot where he can have an absolute monster game. His team is implied 123 points, so they're going to score some damn points in this spot. I think Capella is a really, really good play. But that's really where I'm at on the Rockets. I'm not going to go farther than that.
Yeah, I think Capella may be the only safe play here and tournament only, in my opinion.
Yeah, for sure. Moving on, next game we're going to go with, it is going to be the Philadelphia 76ers going into my computer. So it's the Philadelphia 76ers going into New Orleans to face the Pelicans. Did you have the over or under by chance on that game?
It's 241, and The Sixers are favored by 1.
Okay, for sure. Yeah, so go ahead and get started with the Sixers side of things.
Yeah, so Boban against Portland, only 19 minutes, 4 points, 5 rebounds, 2 assists. A little bit different situation, I think. Portland and then Miami. We know that Miami has a logjam there with the guys they play. Obviously, a little bit of a price difference as well in the 2 games for Boban, but it's the same spot, really. I mean, it's the same spot. It's Anthony Davis playing the center spot in a really in a situation. We don't know how many minutes Anthony Davis is going to play. We don't know what they're going to do with Anthony Davis. They say one thing, they do another. He wasn't on the injury list, and they set him out. We don't know what they're going to do with Anthony Davis from a minute standpoint. And so I think at 5.4, Boban is safe in tournaments. He's not the cash game lock that he was, against Miami a few games back, but he's still very playable. And the guy for his career almost averages 2 fantasy points per minute when he's on the floor. So, Boban, I'm fine with Boban in tournaments. I really like Tobias Harris and Jimmy Butler. I would much rather pay for Butler tonight at 8.6 than I would for James Harden at 12,000 or 12.5, his price tag, even a Russell at 9.1. The shooting guard spot, I think Butler's towards the top of the options, the higher end options, that is. And then Tobias Harris, I think this is a really cheap price tag for Tobias Harris, not just for what the guy's done all season long, but what he's done as well with Joel Embiid off the floor in the short time he's been there with the 76ers. Ben Simmons at 9,000. I don't like this price tag, but I don't mind him in tournaments for the simple fact that I think that Jimmy Butler could see Drew Holiday in this one. I just, Drew Holiday, we know he's a great defender. We try to, for the longest I can remember, our rule has been not against Drew Holiday. He's a really good defender. And you could just take a look at the Houston game a few weeks ago where he blocked James Harden's shot 6 times where everybody else is getting rung up and Harden's going to the foul line. So I think that Simmons is a mismatch for Drew Holiday. Simmons is a lot bigger player than any other point guard that's in the league outside of LeBron when he runs a point guard. I don't mind it. I just think it's a tournament-only play. I think most of these guys are tournament-only plays on the Philadelphia side. I don't mind the exposure. It's a high over-under. It's a very short spread. It's supposed to be a close game here, so I don't mind exposure to any of their 5 starters. I still think you can roll T.J. McConnell at 3.9 and play him as your drop spot. But I think that kind of hinges on, what news we hear on Dragic, because to me, Dragic is the top value play at point guard on the board if we know he's going to play 20-plus minutes tonight.
Yeah, for sure. And I mean, on the North side of things, man, well, I'm going to be honest, I don't know what to do, man. I mean, it's sad to say, but my favorite play on the Pelicans tonight is going to be Elfrid Payton. Elfrid Payton's came back 2 straight games, had a couple solid games, and the price tag is very fair. 5.7 for value. We need about 28. He's played 28 of 36 actual minutes, and like I said, he's the guy that fills up the stat sheet. He has Anthony Davis back, so maybe he can get a couple extra assists as well. So I think that Elfrid Payton is in play, but then outside of that, I mean, Drew Holiday, 9.1. If Davis was out, I would like it with Davis back in. And the fact that they said that they're going to try to limit Drew Holiday's minutes a little bit. They're going to cut him back a little bit as well. So instead of him playing the high 30s like we're used to him, maybe he's only going to play the low 30s. And at a 9.1 price tag with Anthony Davis, that scares me a little bit. Guy Kendrick Williams definitely has some upside. Been playing very, very well. They're giving him his minutes. Definitely think he's in play. He's a GPP play, though, only for me. And then, like I said, Anthony Davis. So Okafor, Diallo, Julius Randle, all 3 of those big guys. I mean, I don't know what to do with them. Just because when Anthony Davis isn't there, they all play very, very well. But with Anthony Davis here today, I mean, he's probably only going to play 25 minutes. But out of those 3 guys, who's going to be the one to get left out? I probably think it's going to be Okafor and Diallo because they really like Randall and they like to get Randall his minutes. But how are you going to play Randall at a 7.8 price tag if he's only going to play 24, 25 minutes with Davis in today? So, like I said, really for me, Pelicans, I like Elfrid Payton, and the rest, I mean, it's kind of a coin flip on who you think is going to get some minutes.
Until they prove me wrong, I'm gonna bank on Anthony Davis playing 20 minutes. That's what I'm gonna bank on. 20 minutes out of Anthony Davis.
So you get what I mean, though. Even if he's playing 20 minutes, though, that's taking away all those extra minutes from the Okafor, the Diallos.
It puts Julius Randle in play, though. If Anthony Davis is gonna play 20 minutes, it opens up 30 minutes for Randle.
Yeah, no,
But
I definitely see that.
I don't think you can touch Drew Holiday and you can't touch Anthony. I just don't think if you want to get exposure to it in tournaments, that's what it is, right? But understand what you're getting. You're going to get a floor of 20 minutes from Anthony Davis, and you hope that he plays 30. Because if he plays 30, he will smash 9.2. And the same with Drew Holiday, right? I mean, that's what you hope. But you have to understand that there's two things working here. Anthony Davis with a finger injury. It's still a finger injury, and we know he's a baby. He's the glass man, right? So there's that. Then they've said, we're going to rest him. We're not going to give him a full complement of minutes. We're going to monitor him. Him and Drew Holiday, we're going to peel him back. You're going to see our bench players and our younger guys get a shot to play. Okay, if that's the case, there's two guys, in my opinion, you can trust. The only guy they didn't name is Elfrid Payton, 5.7. And then Kenrich Williams, we know what he's done, period, in the last month of the season. I think at 6.2, you can trust that they're going to play Kenrich Williams as well. And that's really it.
Yeah, those are my two favorite plays. I mean, it is what it is. Moving on, next game we're going to go with is going to be the Sacramento Kings going into Minnesota to face the Timberwolves. This game has a 238 over-under, and Minnesota is favored by 3 in this one.
I love everybody here. I do. I love everybody who's in play on Sacramento. I love Bagley at 7.4. I told you guys against Golden State he was going to have a monster game, and he did. I like Buddy Hield. The guys that he's shooting the ball this year, having a career year shooting the basketball. 7,000 price tag doesn't scare me off. 7.8 for De'Aaron Fox. He's probably the one guy that I'm a little bit on. I think maybe that's a tournament play only, but Buddy Hield, Marvin Bagley, Bogdanovich at 5.8. We know Bogdanovich can not only score the basketball and he's a solid shooter, but we know he can also get you assists. And that's kind of where I'm at with this. Harrison Barnes, his price just stays at 5.5, but over his last 5 games, averaging 34 minutes, 12 points, and 6 rebounds. Harrison Barnes is if you want to start your build with kind of a floor guy and say, look, I think that 24 fantasy points I'm going to get out of Harrison Barnes, I don't have a problem with that because I think he's a solid small forward number 2. This is a good opportunity. Dario Saric is a perimeter player. Okogie is a perimeter player. Wiggins is a elbowed to perimeter player. So, they don't really have anybody on the floor besides Towns to play under the basket. I think Harrison Barnes could get you 6, 7, 8, 9 rebounds in this spot and maybe a chance at a double-double. I think it's a really good play with Harrison Barnes, probably my favorite play on the King side of it. But Buddy Hield, I mean, to me, if I'm going to pay up at the shooting guard spot tonight, I think Buddy Hield is probably my favorite at 7,000. And I don't know if you need to go above that just for the volume, the shooting percentage, and the production over his last, probably 10 games. The guy's been extremely hot. A couple of monster games during that stretch as well. So he's probably my favorite play, followed by Harrison Barnes and Marvin Bagley.
Yeah, man, on the Timberwolves side of things, I mean, you got Karl-Anthony Towns. He's back, so I definitely think he's in play. Going to get to Willie Cauley-Stein, this is a solid spot for Towns. That their team has 120-point implied total, so they're going to score some points. Some interesting news for me to watch. Well, for all of us that we should watch is the Jeff Teague news. He's questionable, game time decision. If he was to be out, actually, it's kind of tough. They're starting to really get healthy. Before they had everybody was out and it was easy. Now you got Rose is back, you got Tyus Jones back, you got Jared Bailey's back. So it's interesting with Jeff Teague. If he's out today, we could possibly get some value from a Jones or a Bayless, but we just got to see who's going to be in that starting lineup because that's going to be the person that I feel is going to trust. That's kind of a theme with the Timberwolves. If you're the starter, you're going to get your 30-plus minutes. That's really what it comes down to with the Timberwolves. That's just kind of how they roll. So if Jeff Teague is out, like I said, see who is going to be the starter, and you can kind of take a shot at them. At the point guard position, Andrew Wiggins, 7.1. He has the upside. He's a GPP play. But, he's not really jumping off the board to me. Dario Saric, 5,000. He's pretty much established now in that starting lineup. We need 25 for value. This is a guy who can knock down some shots, play a little bit of defense. He's going to get you 7, 8 rebounds a game. I really, really like Saric. 5,000. I think he's a great cash game play. You throw him in your power forward number 2, and you know he's going to get you 20 to 25 fantasy points, hit you value, and he has 35, 40 fantasy point upside. So I think the Sark is a really, really good play at 5,000. Okogie 3.9. You could continue looking at him. He has some upside, possibly as a drop spot play. But that's really it. Gibson with Towns back. He's not going to get those same minutes he's been getting those past couple of games. Dang, his role is starting to diminish a little bit more as they're getting more healthier as well. So, I mean, the most interesting news for me with Timberwolves is just kind of wait and see what happens with Jeff Teague and kind of see if he's out, who gets thrown in that starting lineup, and just kind of go from there.
Yeah, move on.
Next game we're going to go with is going to be the Milwaukee Bucks going into Chicago to face the Bulls. Do you have the over and under on this one? Oh, actually, I'm sorry. I got it right here. I got you. Sorry. So it's Milwaukee Bucks going to Chicago to face the Bulls. This game has a 226.5 over under, and Milwaukee's favored by 7.5 in this one. I was actually a little bit surprised that it was only a 7.5 spread.
Well, I think these two teams have played each other competitively this season, right? I mean, going back to a couple of games that they played in Milwaukee, with Zach LaVine having solid games, these two teams have played each other competitively. And then if Giannis is a game-time decision, a true game-time decision, I haven't even looked at the news to see if there's any update on him. He's unlikely to play. So if Giannis is unlikely to play today, that changes up so much. So that just popped up right now that he's unlikely to play. He's battling through some knee soreness. So if he's unlikely to play, to me, the guy that has absolutely ripped Chicago in his past is Chris Middleton. And I would have said if Giannis is probable that Chris Middleton's too expensive, but at 7,000, I really like the play of Chris Middleton because of the extra shots he should get in this spot. You have to like Brogdon and Bledsoe as well. And then look, narrative game. There's a couple of them, narrative spots. Mirotic, this is a narrative spot for him. Will be really interesting to see the minutes he gets tonight. He is on the uptick as far as minutes go and production-wise. I think this could be the spot where we see Mirotic finally have a breakout game in this role. If, in fact, Giannis is out, Mirotic probably gets bumped in the starting lineup. And if he starts at 5.6, will probably be a chalky option tonight at 5.6 starting. We've seen Ilyasova be a chalky option when he's been rolled into the starting lineup. Granted, a little bit of a price difference between Mirotic and Ilyasova in the same spot. But if Mirotic is going to start at 5.6 tonight and play 25 to 30 minutes, to me, he's close to a lock. And then you look at Bledsoe at 6.9 in a really good spot, and Middleton at 7,000 in a really good spot to get extra shots as well. And then Brogdon. If you want to take a shot in tournaments with Brook Lopez at 5.7, you can. I just don't see the need to do that with the other spots, the Enes Kanter, and who's the other center that we liked? Joakim Noah. With those two guys in the slate, I don't see the reason to pay 5.7 for Brook Lopez in this spot.
Yeah, for sure. On the Bull side of things, I mean, I'm going to start with the guy that I'm really, really liking. Lauri Markkanen, 8.9. The guy's he's a very, very good young player. I just don't know if I want to pay the price tag on him. That's the only thing that's really kind of getting me with him. But I definitely think he can have a really, really good game here, especially if he's not matched up with the Giannis. Because, if Giannis was playing, Giannis a power forward, it would kind of be a bad matchup for Markkanen. With Giannis probably going to be out, definitely think he's in play, more of a GPP play. I'm just going to keep it real, straight up, make it easy for you. Markkanen, Chris Dunn, and LaVine are all solid plays, all probably GPP plays. And Chris Dunn is very interesting at a 5.8 price tag. This guy, I mean, he's a $7,000 player. He's just kind of, a little bit of a bad run right now. It's fine. Markkanen, Dunn, LaVine, all GPPs. If Otto Porter does play, he's a game-time decision. You can throw him in there as well at 6.5, and that's it for me with the Bulls. I do definitely firmly believe, though, that all four of those guys are really good GPP plays.
I think Dunn is GPP only and almost a complete fade for the simple fact that it's not just one category. Like, you can't just look and say, okay, look, he's still getting you assists, but he's not getting shots. Okay, then he's a fair price. He's down everywhere, and the number one number that's down is usage. His usage is down, and I think that's an Otto Porter type deal with Otto Porter, Zach LaVine, and Markkanen getting the bulk of the usage there, and Chris Dunn's kind of just bringing the ball up the court and then getting rid of it to start the offense. So I don't like Dunn, really. I think he's a complete fade in my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, I like the price. I like the price, the upside, but I get you completely. Moving on, last game of the night, it is going to be the Dallas Mavericks going into it's Dallas Mavericks going into LA to face the Clippers. Did you have the over and under on this one?
229, and the Clippers are favored by 5.
Okay, cool. There we go. So get us started with the Dallas side of things.
Yeah, man. So I like Tim Hardaway here at 5.5. I like Hardaway a lot in this spot. The minutes are there. He's playing 27 to 30 minutes a night. I do. I like it. If for some reason Doncic is out, I think that gives a bigger boost to Hardaway. We know what Hardaway brings to the table. The guy, his game doesn't really change, and it hasn't really changed even going to Dallas. He is what he is. He's going to take volume shooter. He's either going to be hot or he's not. And if he does heat up, then you're going to look for a big night out of him. If he can't knock shots down, then obviously he's going to dud on you. So he doesn't really do much outside of rebounds, assists, steals, etc. He's a scorer. So you're paying 5.5. It's kind of like a CJ McCollum, who's a $7,000 player in this spot. You're getting Hardaway at 5.5. So I don't mind they're the same type of player in the same type of spot, in my opinion. But I do like Hardaway at 5.5. Outside of that, I don't have a ton of interest here. I don't have a ton of interest in Doncic at 9.5, with the other options that are available tonight. I'm a big believer that there's a huge difference in the last games with Sacramento, Phoenix, Milwaukee, Atlanta, Houston. There's a big bulk of games starting at 5 o'clock or 8 p.m. Eastern time. You're going to have somebody in this spot to move you up a board. You're just going to have to have somebody. I don't know if it's Tim Hardaway or somebody on Dallas side. I could definitely see it being a Patrick Beverly or a Lou Williams. But I think you have to have somebody here to win a tournament. I just don't think it's on the Dallas side.
Yeah, no, for sure. I get you completely. On the Clippers side of things, man, it's like, what do we really want to do with the Clippers? We could start with the guy, Shamit. He came over from the 76ers. The guy's been playing a bunch of minutes. He's not necessarily doing nothing special with them, but the fact that he's playing, right around 30 minutes, 4,200, he's in the starting lineup. You only need 21 for value. I definitely think he can get you, 25, 30 fantasy points and get you, 6X on this price tag, but doesn't necessarily jump out as oh my God, I got to get him in my lineup kind of play. Gilgeous-Alexander, Patrick Beverly, I think both of those guys could be in play as well. Lou Williams, 7.8. They need this guy to score the ball. He's their main scorer off the bench. He's going to be their sixth man. The price tag is there. It's a fair – it's a little bit – I think he's a little bit overpriced, I would say, for kind of his recent performance. But, the guy had 50 fantasy point upside, so it's hard to say that he is overpriced. He has been in the 8,000. So the fact that he's under 8,000, I definitely think that you got to really, really like that. Small forward Gallinari, 7.1. He's one of the guys that, he gets a ton of shots. They're playing him down low, a little bit small ball. The minutes have been all over the place. That's really been the theme with these Clippers guys. Is some minutes they play 30, some minutes they're playing 24, 25. It is what it is. So it's like it's a guessing game with the minutes. But Gallinari is in play. Power forward, you can look at Harrell going against Dallas. We like big men going against Dallas. But it's the same thing with him. The minutes are down, 22, 26, 16. I think that, it's going to be maybe today will be the day. But the next couple of games, Doc is really going to kind of solidify a role. And they're going to try to he's really going to try to solidify like his roster rotation coming out of the break. And they're going to make their final push to try to make the playoffs. So, for me, with the Clippers, I kind of have to wait and see kind of how it works out because even Zubac, he's playing about 20 minutes a game. They kind of have a logjam here at the Clippers side of things. Who do you like on the Clippers? I'm kind of like all over the place with them right now.
So I like JaMychal Green a lot at 4.2, especially for tournaments. Huh?
Hey, he was a guy I forgot about. I like JaMychal Green as well.
So I have to look because I didn't watch this game yesterday. I have to look and see what happened with Harrell. They are on a back-to-back. They did play Denver yesterday. That's worth noting. But I have to look and see if Harrell got in foul trouble, and that's why he only played 16 minutes, or if it was anticipating that it was the first half of a back-to-back. It was at Denver. It was at altitude. They're going to come back home today. And that's why JaMychal Green got the extra run and Harrell got buzzed off. I don't know because I haven't looked if it was foul trouble or if it was anticipation of a back-to-back. If it was foul trouble, then I don't know how to read into it. But if it wasn't foul trouble, then I would say that Harrell's a guy that I think is somebody that you could play in tournaments tonight that would be a really low-owned option in the last game. All the action in that 8 p.m. Eastern block. If you look at the slate tonight, the way it plays out, every game is done at 8 o'clock. And that's usually we get 2 or 3 games on this big of a slate that are late games to look at. There's only one. This game, I think, could go under-owned as a whole. And you have to look at Harrell if, in fact, it was not foul trouble and JaMychal Green got the extra run because it was Doc Rivers playing rotationally on the first half of back-to-back. Gallinari, another guy, had a really big game the last time he played against Dallas in December. He didn't play in the game in January. I think he had 40 fantasy points when they played in December. So Gallinari is another guy I think is good tournament play. But that's Lou Williams. I think he's going to get you 30. I think you could say he's going to get you 30, and I don't think that that's good enough to get the job done tonight at 7.8.
Yeah. Really quick, I'm not trying to backtrack, but just came out. Chris Dunn is doubtful tonight with the migraine. If Chris Dunn is out, I absolutely love Zach LaVine. He's going to go to the point guard spot. And we see what Zach LaVine was doing earlier in the year when he was running the point guard spot. The usage was crazy. So that's something to definitely look out for.
You need to also Otto Porter is now doubtful as well.
Yeah, so I'm telling you, Levine. Also on the Milwaukee side of things, I just noticed I wasn't paying attention, to be honest. George Hill is also out as well, the backup point guard. So I think if George Hill's already ruled out, if Giannis is out, I think in your cash games, I think you put Bledsoe 6,900, Middleton 7,000, Brogdon. You could even play Brogdon 6,200. You can play all 3 of those guys. They're all very, very fair price tag, and you can get away with it, in my opinion. So that's a really, really interesting piece of news that we really look out for.
Also worth noting, the last time these two teams played, Markkanen had 47.9 fantasy points. So,
right.
This is a good spot for him. We like big guys against Milwaukee as it is. You take their best rebounder out in Giannis. I think it's a good spot for Markkanen and LaVine.
Yeah, and with no Dunn, and if Otto Porter's out, those are 2 of the 4 guys that I like. So, those are really their 4 best players on the team. So, if 2 of the 4 best guys are out, I don't know if I'm with you on Bledsoe and Cash, because I think that there's stuff that's going to open up. You got to look at Wayne Selden at 3.6. You got to look at Shaq Harrison at 3.6, both as drop spot plays, because one of those 2 guys is going to end up starting unless it's Archie Docino. And if he starts at 4,000, the last time he started at 4,000, he got 32 fantasy points. So I like him a ton. He's had really good games against Milwaukee this year as well. So if one of those 3 guys starts, I don't know if I can get with you on Bledsoe, because at 6.9, you start looking at other guys on the board at the point guard spot, mainly Dragic. To me, the Dragic news now is the most important news of the day as far as if we get something about his minutes. Because if you can – point guard is becoming the place to pay down for tonight. And that's just with that news opening up, it's becoming the place to pay down for. Yeah, no, I get you, but Bledsoe under 7,000, no Giannis. I'm in. Kind of move on. Okay, that's what we got. 11-game slate wrapped up. Man, it was a long one, but it was a good one. Definitely, if you guys haven't already, man, make sure to check out the site, dfscheatsheet.com. If you want to play the actual cash game lineups that we're playing every single night, or run 150 lineups and throw them in a big-time tournament, hey, you can do all that on the site. Check it out, DFS Cheat Sheet. If we don't talk to you guys before then, good luck on your guys' contest tonight, and peace out, guys.